Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the greatest live show of all time. That is right, everybody. Today, we're doing yet another episode of whatever the hell this is. That's right. With that being said, I actually have an excuse for being inactive this time, alright? I swear, this time I'm, really busy with college stuff, so, there's that whole aspect of it, I guess you could say. With that being said, hello, Katie, and congratulations on being the first person in chat today. Hello, Just Here for Fun. Hello, Chris Lee. Hello, Randy S. I manifested this. Well, goddamn, manifestation correct, successful. Hello, Joseph Potesta. Hello, Minty. Hello, Union Pacific Rail fan. Hello, Cheetah Man. Hello, Anon420 Cereal. Hello, Fixie Pixie. I was just thinking I hope she streams tonight. Well, wish granted. What can I say? Hello, Donjo. Hello, Abraham Robinson. Hello, Skylar Therian. Whoa, Femi is in college? I mean, what did you expect? What else did you think I was doing? Anyways. Hello, Florida Man. Cheeseburger? Cheeseburger, indeed. Hello, beautiful. Why, thank you. Why, thank you. But yes, I am very late, as Minty has correctly pointed out. I'm gonna fall asleep to this. Just tired. Fair enough. Sorry I haven't been in your chat for a while. No worries. I haven't been streaming very much lately. Hello, Neptune. Hi, Femi. How was your day? I'm doing all right. It's been good. What can I say? No, not really. That's a lie. I've been mainly focusing on college stuff. That's like the opposite of a good day, in all fairness. Anyways. Hi, Hottie Femi. Hello, Lefty Memes. Good to see you again. I don't know. I thought you were a broke streamer. Why aren't those mutually exclusive? Just saying. But yeah, no, I can't afford most things, if that's what you're wondering. But I mean, hey, that's par for the course with being 20 or in your early 20s. Yeah, at least you don't have a job. Dude, I love how you censored the word job, Very YouTuber-esque of you. I gotta go. I'm on a call with my little. Interesting. I did not expect... Okay, fair enough. I did not expect that in my chat. Oh, my phone bricked itself in class today for seemingly no reason. Well, fair enough. That is very unfortunate. Now, my hair isn't fully dry. Hopefully I didn't, fry it. I was like, dude, I want to get, a 1-hour stream in before I, either try to sleep or do a server VC, depending on what I'm feeling. And, yeah, you just said the J slur. That's true. Dude. That's the last word that Asmongold ever wants to hear. Now that my university semester is over, I'm bored as shit and I need a job. Yeah, fair. That's a cute shirt. I mean, intimidating, tough shirt. Very intimidating indeed. I couldn't possibly agree more. But yeah, dude, also, it's like that time of year where it, starts getting more and more hot in my room. It's very... very annoying. Don't like it very much, but oh well. I won $5 on a $2 ticket. I'm lucky, Lamau. Well, fair enough. That's fair, yeah. But, anyways, I forgot to put my bracelet on. Sorry. Just had to get that real quick. Anyways. Hey, thank you so much! Abraham Robinson for the $20, you beautiful fucking bastard saying. For the Femyoz College Fund. Why, thank you very much. But yeah. Basically my parents are like, alright, we'll pay for college, but... So this would actually be rent money, but they make me pay rent. It's I don't know, we kind of have our system. Yes, W indeed. Thank you very much. But yeah, I can't afford most things, because I have to focus on paying rent and stuff. But yeah. I'm watching your stream while trying to beat the first Minecraft version. Well, goddamn. I assume you're talking about the first one with the Ender Dragon? Or are you not counting, alpha and beta versions of the game? Because, there was, Oh god, am I lagging? That's not good. Because there were a lot of, versions of the game, that were, before the Ender Dragon. Okay, 1.0.0. Okay. I was gonna say, it wouldn't make very much sense if, it was the actual first version. Lag, yeah, I know, I saw. It was so annoying. I'm gonna get a job soon. Oh, shoot, I said the J slur. God damn it. Where is PP Girl? I'm not sure, but she was over for a bit. So that was the reason that I wasn't streaming very much, if at all, for that week. And this week, I'm really busy doing college stuff, so I pay groceries, my dad pays tuition, and 3/4 of my rent. Yo, dude, 3/4 would be nice. That'd be pretty sick. I'd kill for that. Anyways. But yeah. Boop indeed. You should watch Metal Lords. I mean, I haven't seen it. I don't know what that's about. But yeah. You're so pretty. Why, thank you. Why, thank you. I very much appreciate that. But, yeah. Cheers, everyone. Hell yeah. What's up? Hello, Daniel Berry. Hello, Solar Wheeler. Hello, Lexi. Wait, I just got here. Why didn't you stream it all last week? So last week, I was hanging out with Summer, or PP Girl 420 as you would all recognize her in chat. And we were gonna do a stream together, but we never got around to it. And I guess the main focus was to spend time with each other. And then by the time we were like, oh, we should do a stream, it was like kind of too late. And then we were like, well, oh well. Because she ended up having to go home. So yeah, unfortunate, I know, but we got to spend time together. This week, I'm probably not going to stream as much as I'd like because college stuff, but hope you two had fun. Hell yeah. But after this week, I should be able to stream regularly again. If not, I'm either lazy or severely depressed. Last week was diaper week. That's why Femi wasn't streaming. Hey, you're not supposed to tell people that. That's meant to be a secret. Hello, Batal Crafter, though. It's very good to see you. So you stream every day? Every day? Yes, at least I try to. Now, ideally, this summer, I'll be able to do something similar to what I did last summer, which is basically streaming every day where the streams are a lot longer. So, like, for instance, last summer, a 4-hour stream was considered a short stream. Now, as of streaming, not recording, as of this stream, right, a 3-hour long stream is considered long, right? So I haven't been putting as much stock or effort, I guess you could say, into YouTube. And I want to fix that. I want to change that. And I think this summer is going to be a good opportunity for that. But yeah, want to stay for stream, but I'm so tired. You know what? That's fair. That's fair. EP time for me right now, but I don't wanna. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Dude, I don't know what Metal Lords is, and I'm not watching the trailer. Stop. No. I don't do... Look, I'm not a media analysis person, unless it's Star Wars, okay? If we're talking about Star Wars, alright, I'm absolutely a media analysis person in that case, alright? But that's very different, okay? That's a different form of media analysis. It's 11 and I gotta be up at 5. Well, then you should go sleep or something. Hello, Willy Billy. Hope you're doing well. Analyze the Metal Lord trailer. Dude, I don't have it. I don't know what that is, and like I'm gonna be I'm not a media analysis channel. I'm not particularly good at that in general. I'm only good at it in the context of Star Wars because I'm a Star Wars fan already. Hey baby, when do you want me to teach you about makeup? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. At some point. At some point. Are you MTF? You better believe I am. But yeah. Yeah, makeup is another thing that I want to learn over the summer, hopefully, if I have the time. Last summer, I didn't because my channel was blowing up and I was so focused on that that I couldn't even consider the possibility of doing that. And I just kind of forgot about it. And, you know, I get busy with other stuff and then I get depressed when I'm not busy. Not because I'm not busy, but because I've been depressed the whole time and it's finally a moment for me to relax. and recuperate, you know. Light side or dark side? Ooh, for me, I feel like I'd be a gray Jedi or something. I feel like I'd use both. I feel like I'd err more on the side of the light, but like, I'd definitely tap into the dark side. For sure. More so than Mace Windu, who uses Form 7 of a pod, right? Which requires you to use both the light and dark side, essentially. You don't really need makeup though, you're so pretty naturally. Why, thank you. I really appreciate that. The reason I want to learn makeup is just because A, I think it'd be a fun thing to learn, and B, I don't think makeup is something that necessarily hides ugliness very well. I think it accentuates people's good features. Does estrogen make men lose weight? I'm a femboy and have a belly stretch marks. I'm not on hormones. But sad, my BMI is 25.3, slightly overweight. I guess it depends on who you are. Estrogen will decrease your diet or your appetite, which might change your diet. Is that your real hair? You better believe it is. I love watching you. Well, I'm glad to hear that, Howard. I'm glad you enjoy watching me. I like your hair. Let's go. Let's go. Read my last comment, please. I'm too lazy to type that again. What if I just didn't? It's about two friends trying to be a metal band and winning the battle of the bands, but one gets sent to metal home because his dad is toxic and thought he was crazy. Yeah, I'm gonna be real. What am I meant to say on that? I don't know anything about metal. All right? I'm just like an idiot normie when it comes to that. You're very smart. You know, maybe. Not usually. Sometimes. I'll say sometimes I can be smart. All right? That sounds like that movie with Jack Black with the rock school. The only Jack Black movie that I care about is the Minecraft movie. Just say cool? What do you mean? I'm confused. Femyoz just started a music reaction channel. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's called Liam Donovan. It's my alt. It's my secret alt, Liam Donovan. That's when I boy mode. For anyone who's not aware. I mean, have you ever seen me and Lyrics in the same room? All right? I think not. I think not. School of Rock, that movie is so good. I haven't seen it. Look, I'm not the person to compare and contrast different movies, all right? It's not that I have media illiteracy. It's more along the lines of I'm just not interested in most media. Most movies, that is. I'm more interested in things that happen on YouTube. Because there's some aspect of authenticity that I enjoy. And even when there's not, it's like, at the very least, I can look at the content and be like, oh, here's something that I could include in my content, or the way that I present certain information, or the way I engage broadly, right? Never heard of School of Rock? How old are you? How old do you think I am? How old do you think I am? Something tells me people are going to grossly underestimate or overestimate how old I am, or something. Actually, I don't know. That's hard to say. But just based on how based on how I look. Okay. Animal says 18. The girl in my profile picture is so pretty. It's not me. I just want to be so much like her. I forgot her name, but she's one of my favorite movies. You know, honestly, I would make fun of you for not knowing the name of your favorite character. But like, I too am somebody that doesn't remember the names of anybody. I only remember faces. I'm guessing you're 2005 born. 20, 69, 22, 22, 69, funny sex number. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Y2K. Not gonna lie. You look anywhere between 16 and 36. Very specific, thank you. Very good. I think that everyone except one person was correct, I think. Yeah. Yeah, I'm 20. 20. Let's go. Actually, I'm basically 21, so now that I think of it. Hello, Femyoz. Do you think it's okay if I wear pigtails to work? Yeah, well, I assume so. I mean, I don't see why not. I guess it depends on what your workplace is like. Um, you can drink beer and drunk drive. That's true. I am now basically, I'm basically legally able to do drunk driving. It's awesome stuff. 21 is the legal age to smoke weed for. Wait, so you grew up a male? Yup, I did. That is a thing that happened. DUIos, hey, all I can say on the matter is it's not illegal if you don't get caught. That's all I'm gonna say, alright? Dude, I actually... Hold on. My hair is, like, a mess. Sorry about that. But yeah, anyways. Good night. Good night, Sheriff Nazir. I hope you enjoy sleeping and stuff. You know, sleeping is very good. Anyways. If you ever get 2 DUIs, you can still teach at a college. You know, I'll just keep that in mind. All right, keep my options open. If you're 21 now, does that mean 9 years ago you were 10? Well, I said I'm basically 21. That doesn't mean I'm exactly 21. I'm saying I'm close. I'm close enough. Anyways. I love you? Whoa. You do? Damn. Parasocial relationships go crazy. You know what? I love you too, chat. I will encourage the parasocial behavior. Because, like, you know. Wait, so you can't drunk drive and drink? No, you have to choose between drunk driving and drinking. Alright? You're not allowed to do both. Giving 2007 era vibes. You know, I see that quite frequently, and, yeah, you're not wrong. Why on Twitter do I always see trans girls exclusively using the term readable? You know, that's a good question, Felix. Why is it the case that trans girls use the term readable? You know, do you think that maybe it's projection much? You know, I'm just saying, when we call each other breedable, I think that a lot of us are projecting. Not me, of course. I would never project. Yeah. Actually, it's X. No. What you gotta do, you gotta be like X, parentheses, formerly Twitter. One time I was so drunk and somebody tried to take the keys from me, and I told them I had to drive home, and they said why I was too drunk to walk. I see. I see. Can you brush your hair again? Femyoz makeup stream when? Hopefully soon. Hopefully I'll learn soon. Are you breedable though? You know, this is one of those chat messages where instead of responding to it, I'm just gonna say nothing and just let that message fucking rot and die in the atmosphere. Okay, we're just gonna leave that one there to disintegrate on its own or something. These are the questions that need the answers. Yeah, dude, incredible question and answer session, truly. What can I say? Be right back. Hell yeah. I really like your pink t-shirts. They're so cute. Why, thank you. I very much appreciate that. I very much do. Anyways. But yeah, I'm gonna be real. Fit check. I guess I could do a fit check. Femyoz puppy girl arc when? Well, I'm actually more of a cat girl or a kitty girl, if you will. Your hairbrushing is satisfying. I thought you were an ASMR person. No, I'm actually quite loud and annoying a lot of the time. It depends on how I'm feeling. But yeah, I've thought about doing an ASMR channel. In America, some people want small mommy GF with small milky, but we need to make sure that the tent is big enough for the mommy GF with Biggie, Milky, and Penis. Very thoughtful. Thank you for sharing. Good stuff. I love loud people. Me too. I do, in fact, have a tendency to love myself. W indeed. W indeed. But yeah, I could do a fit check. Since Lucas in chat asked for one, I guess. But yeah, for anyone wondering, it's just like a comfy ass outfit. You know, nothing too out of the ordinary for me. All right, dude. It's the AGP classic, if you will. All right, it's good shit. But yeah. I'm gonna dead name Twitter and Gulf of Mexico. Is that so? Is that so? Fair enough. Comfy outfit? Hell yeah. Adorable? I'm not adorable. You're adorable, chat. That's right. I'm gonna dead name Twitter and Gulf of Mexico. As you should, as you should. You know, those are their biological names after all. But yeah, anyways. Yes, skirt indeed. Looks nice. Thank you, Alan. I appreciate that. Let's see. Anyways, chat. How y'all doing? Oh, some shitter got banned. No. Oh no, what will we do without them? By the way, your voice is barely audible when you're away from the mic. You know, that sounds about right. That sounds about right. That doesn't surprise me. Hey, thank you, Batal Crafter, for the $10, you beautiful fucking bastard. Very much appreciated. Very much appreciated. Thank you. Thank you for the 10. Anyways. Why is it always the ugliest inbred looking motherfuckers that are shitters? Wait, hold on. Let me go to the channel of the person that got banned. Oh no. What is this? Kyle Spurgeon 96. So this is the dude named Kyle. He doesn't look like a Kyle. Does he? He does not look like a Kyle. He does look like a neckbeard. Dude. We have the contrarians in chat being like, actually, he's hot. Dude. He was not born in the 96. Yeah, he was not born in the big 96, okay? He was born in the big 86, okay? Yeah, average Discord moderator. I'm gonna be so real. Like, if this isn't peak Discord moderator status, then I don't know what is. You're the female version of him? That's true. We practically look identical. The resemblance is uncanny, truly. He thinks that angle works for him? Yes. So much so, in fact, that he's decided to make it his entire profile picture. But yeah, we've got Kyle from the big 86. I think maybe it was a typo when he said 96. But yeah, anyways. Your voice is really annoying. No reason to hate on someone. Yeah, but he was like talking shit first. Like what? Yeah, you should get Kyle's cut. Dude, the receding hairline cut, bro. Oh my god. Dude. Can I yo, what's up? Can I please get the receding hairline fade? Yeah, ban everyone named Kyle. Oh god. Anyways. You're hot? Thank you, Passionless Desire. I appreciate that. So much reason to hate on dudes that look like that. I'm sorry. Facts. Ola Razzle Dazzle spitting facts. Yeah, dude, I gotta get the low Kyle fade. the Kyle Spurgeon 96 fade. Why are you talking about his haircut when you're rocking the comb over in the big 25? Because the difference is that, like, there's, like, an aesthetic to a side part, right? Side parts have an aesthetic to them. Receding hairlines aren't very aesthetically pleasing. All right, they're not very aesthetically pleasing. Fellow trans girl transitioned 6 years ago when I was 21. Trans rights are human rights. I agree. The proof. I agree. You're my favorite YouTuber. Well, I'm very glad to hear that, Animal. I'm very glad to hear that. I will donate $5 if you chug a bottle of toothpaste. You know, tempting, to say the very least. Very tempting. Sup, bro, is that you before you transitioned? No, I wasn't this bad looking before I transitioned. The hair looks like a gender-swapped Draco Malfoy. Dude, unironically, people said that I looked like Draco Malfoy before I transitioned. But, like, that was one of the reasons, like, no joke. Like, my first ex-girlfriend that I dated, like, kept telling me that I looked like Draco Malfoy. And that Draco Malfoy was hot. And I'm like, okay, thank you. And now I'm like transgender Draco Malfoy. But yeah. Femyoz was always hot even before HRT. I'd have smashed, to be honest. Real. Anyways, I'll pay $20 for your OnlyFans. There's nothing really on my OnlyFans. Do you take or give is a crazy question. Transo Malfoy. I am indeed Transo Malfoy. What can I say? You know, one of the many benefits of being me. I chug a bottle of toothpaste daily. Fair enough. I'll give 20 cents for OnlyFans for real. Fair enough. Anyways, WTF is this chat? Good question. OMG, you have an OnlyFans now? Totes subbing. Well, technically, I've had an account for like, how long? Kind of a while. Like 2 years or something, but I just never put anything on there. I just thought it was funny to have. What does hair taste like? I don't know. Hair? It's hair flavored. I'm shocked by how little trolling there is. Yeah, me too. Are you gay? Yeah, I mean, I'm a little bit fruity. You're banned by Trump. Well, unfortunately for you, Trevor, I'm still here. Ain't shit you can do about me, right? All I'm gonna say is that Trump, the one good thing about Trump, right, is if you're an accelerationist, perfect president for you, okay? If you want everything to go to shit so that nobody votes conservative for the next 100 years, I mean, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with nobody ever voting Republican ever again. Hard to say, though. Look, the thing about accelerationism is it's unpredictable. So, yeah. But that is a possible outcome. What's an accelerationist? So, an accelerationist is basically somebody that is in favor of, instead of having like a slow, gradual things getting worse over time, but people don't realize they're getting worse, they would rather things quickly get worse, right? And that a country be quickly destroyed so that people actually do something about it, right? Both sides were shit this year. Kamala is retarded and so is Trump, not gonna lie. Yeah, but Trump is clearly worse, right? Look, when I say that it was a moral obligation to vote for Kamala Harris, it wasn't because Kamala Harris is some great candidate. No, it's just that Trump is that bad. You know, he did like the whole, I don't know, trying to do an insurrection thing, hates democracy, wants to centralize as much power as humanly possible, was even saying that he was going to do that in his Agenda 47 before, like well before the election, as well as the fact that he was heavily associated with Project 2025, which is very reminiscent of Agenda 47, right? And vice versa. You're literally siding with mainstream news. Think about that. What? No, mainstream news isn't far left. What? Mainstream news is like either liberal or conservative. But none of the mainstream news outlets hold any of my positions. But obviously you wouldn't know that because you've created two cartoonishly fucking stupid caricatures of political positions and don't realize that there are other positions that you can hold that don't fit into those two categories. Yeah, Fox is also mainstream, right? I hope we get a progressive president in the next election. I'd love living in more than half the states, Lamau. Yeah, that would be nice. That would be nice. No, I'm not a communist. Market socialism is pretty base, though. Honestly cute, not even scared to admit it. Well, yeah, I'm pretty confident in a lot of my positions. Like, I'm not gonna bullshit people and be like, no, actually, I have this more moderate position. I'm a moderate, guys. I think that's fucking stupid, and I think it panders to a lack of logic and reasoning, right? The correctness of a position isn't based on how close to the center is it. It's based on whether or not it makes logical sense and how it plays out. Anyways, I think we should just revolution. Look, doing a revolution is easier said than done, but fundamentally as a concept, I'm not necessarily opposed, but I don't know how that would be done, so it's not really something I'm working towards. Because there's a difference between, like, would it be nice if there was a successful revolution and then the system that I'm in favor of ends up being in power? Yeah, but that requires a successful revolution. Good fucking luck with that in the big 25. And B, it also requires that once the people in power currently are overthrown, that the right people end up being in power after the fact. That's not always going to be the case. Anyways, only things that matters is Constitution. I don't agree with that. I think that the Constitution matters in some sense. And by that I mean, I think it's a good idea to have some sort of official document that says, here is what the government can and can't do, right? No matter who's in power, right? Now, Trump seems to go against that and go against the Constitution, but I think that there needs to be more than just the Constitution. I think that, or alternatively, for the Constitution to be expanded upon, right? But unfortunately, it's a lot more easier said than done to add additional amendments to the Constitution. So, when was the last time a new amendment was added? Fucking ages ago, right? Trump literally the same as Biden? No, not even close. The difference is that Biden is complacent, don't get me wrong, but he's not a fascist. Anyways. MAGA, the Constitution, they like to break the law and its rights. You speak with a funny cadence. That's probably true. Yeah, I could see that being the case. Hasn't Biden proposed a new amendment? What would that be? If he has, I'm not fully aware of that. But do you know what fascism is? Yeah, to put it bluntly, I would say a form of like a hyper-nationalistic authoritarianism. I think that'd be like a pretty easy way of describing it. But yeah, wrong? Okay. What would you describe it as? Wrong? Okay, what's the correct answer then? Like if you think that if you think that my definition is wrong, then what is the correct definition of fascism if you disagree with me? Because I'm willing to hear out alternative definitions. But I think that hyper-nationalistic authoritarianism is a pretty good description of fascism. Yeah, that's that's definitionally. Anyways. I don't care for Trump or Biden. Elect me president. I'll pull a Luigi Mangione. Very based, I agree. But yeah, I'm in favor of like strategic / pragmatic voting. That's base definition, bruh, and I'm far right. Yeah, dude, the far right people are agreeing that that's the definition. So, like, dude, the one thing that the far right and the far left can agree upon, the definition of fascism. The far left people are like, you know, fascism is when hyper-nationalistic authoritarianism, and that's bad. And the right is like, I agree, except I think it's based, actually. You know? Yeah, dude, horseshoe theory in action. Am I right? What would you change in the Constitution? Oh, I don't know. Maybe add an amendment that protects women's bodily autonomy or some shit like that. Like, I don't know. Something about abortion. Timu Pyro's cynical. That's okay. I see. I see how it is. All right. That one fucking hurt, okay? Fuck you. That was good. That was pretty good. That's kind of accurate. I could see it. That was another person that I was always compared to growing up, both in terms of personality and physical appearance. Yeah, fascism is what liberals call me and my friends. MAGA, yeah. Pro-choice queen. Like, I feel like it's like the most obvious, right? But, I don't know. What can I say? Fascism is a process into transforming an existing government to a totalitarian system by the use of scapegoats while suppressing media. And Soviet Union was fascist. No, you're conflating these terms. The Soviet Union was totalitarian, specifically under Stalin. Nazi Germany was fascist. I don't think that you understand. Now, yeah, you're able to point out things that are in common, right? Yes, they use scapegoats while suppressing media, right? In both cases, but I don't think that you are really understanding the definition of communist. No, communism just refers to a collective ownership over the means of production. That's what that means. Right? Collective ownership rather than privatized or corporate ownership. So, like, yeah, there's obviously going to be a massive distinction there between that and what you had in the USSR, right? And that's not even an argument in favor of communism. That's just, I mean, that's just like the definition of words. That's not even complicated. That's not like a complex argument about like the theory behind it. Right? Yet one person gets greedy and wants the whole thing for themselves. Yeah. Well, I mean, I look at it as, you've got the USSR and you've got Joseph Stalin, who is the landlord of the USSR. All right. That's what it is. All right. He's basically the landlord of the USSR. What can I say? That's basically what it is. I think that I remember specifically using that fucking line when talking to a tanky. They were like, actually, the USSR is based and that's how communism should be done. And I'm like, wait, hold on. You agree that landlords are bad, right? Okay. So what if somebody was the landlord of an entire country, okay? You would agree that's bad, right? And they're like, yeah. Okay, so like, what if the country is called the USSR and the landlord's name is Joseph Stalin? Communism isn't a bad idea if people weren't so greedy. No, that same sentiment could be applied to capitalism. Is communism when no food? Yes. Communism is when no food and no house. That's what that means. Anyways. Communism is dumb because of individuals. See, these are very vague statements. Like, I don't know what I'm supposed to get from that. Like, oh, communism is bad because people are dumb and greedy. Okay, I just say the same thing about capitalism. Capitalism exploits greed for the greater good. No, the the billionaires on top are not the greater good. I don't think you understand how massive the disparity in wealth between the average person and a billionaire or like a CEO is. Like I don't think you understand the discrepancy there. Like it's not for the greater good. The average person doesn't benefit from it. It's the people at the top that benefit from it. Right? Practically speaking, communism can be a direction in which we strive. Union action, tenant activism, community aid and defense, all little and achievable victories to oppose economic hierarchy. Yeah, I would agree with that as well. I would generally agree with that. Like everything that you listed is definitely good and something that I would be on board with. The only benefit of democracy is that the corruption that festers within has great difficulty destroying the system, meaning that it's also more stable. Well, yes, I'm in favor of democracy, but I'm also in favor of workplace democracy, right? Like I would expand a lot of principles that we use when describing how countries ought to operate to corporations. I think that if all corporations were worker cooperatives, right, we'd be living in a better society that actually, I don't know, cares about the needs of the workers, right? Actually accounts for that. Communism just falters under corruption due to its fragile nature. What makes it fragile in particular, though? Big up. Opinion on the freedom that cults get in the USA. Some countries have banned Scientology churches, for example. Yo, I'm gonna be real. Like, I think it should be illegal to raise children in cults or to indoctrinate them into like extreme religious ideology. Yeah, this is why socialism is based. Yeah, like I would prefer socialism over communism or capitalism. All right, I'm gonna be the enlightened centrist here and say that both sides are bad. Socialism is good. All right, it actually takes the best elements of each and gets rid of the worst elements of each. You know. Communism is only bad-mouthed by history. If we implemented it now, we would thrive. Why is that the case? I'm not agreeing or disagreeing, but just like, why would we thrive now but not then? Now, my position is I don't think that communism has ever been implemented. Centrist, enlightened, pick one. Yeah, good point. What if I pick both? The central government power under communism means that the corruption that's inherent in any government hinders the public to a far greater extent. Well, this is a misconception about communism, though. It's not... communism is not when the government owns stuff, right? It's not necessarily central power. It just means collective ownership, right? Communism has worked, though, in small city-states called communes. Yeah. I used to be a communist, to be honest. I'm still intrigued. Yeah, I'm not, like, really in favor of or opposed to communism. I just haven't heard great arguments in either direction. I've constructed arguments against, like, I don't know, anarcho-communism and why that can't work, which used to be my interpretation of communism broadly. Like, I thought all communism was anarcho-communism. I didn't know that anarcho-communism was, like, its own thing. Like, I thought that WTF, did I reach Gulag comment section? You did. I'm going to take a step back from politics. Eyebrows are on point. Why, thank you. Conservative here. My great-grandparents survived the Soviet Union and Nazi Germany. Fair enough. But yeah, like I'm somebody that would argue that, like the Soviet Union wasn't really communist, right? That's my position on the matter, right? I don't believe that communism is when the state owns stuff. Like that just goes against the definition, right? It was state ownership over the means of production, not collective ownership. And without collective ownership, it's not communism, right? My wife is a Nazi. What do I do? Look, normally it's bad to abuse your partners, but you know, anyways. Your wife is a keeper. Good shit, good shit. State capitalism was the economy of the Soviet Union. Well, that's what China is like. Like, people bring up China as an example, and it's like the most blatantly state capitalist economy. Or it's not even trying to hide it. Anyways. Then really none of the communist countries that exist are communist because they all became totalitarian. Well, I think that they were fundamentally flawed to begin with, and I don't think that they were ever I think that the people that end up in power used communism as like a tool, right? Because it was popular in certain countries, so they'd be like, "Oh, well, I'm one of you guys," right? And then they get into power before they're able to before a stable government is even able to be established, right? And then they fuck everything over, right? Collective ownership will always be state ownership. No. Communism relies on a command economy. There has to be a state to manage every aspect of the nation. I guess you could make that argument for communism, but also it's going to be the case that, like, if we were to have market socialism, there would be collective ownerships. There would be collective ownership, but also we would retain the markets, right? So that wouldn't necessarily be the case. So, like, for instance, it would be enforced that, say, for instance, workers get to elect their CEOs for the company that they work at, right? Which is the main thing that I'm in favor of when it comes to like, I don't know, what would be considered further left economic policy. Collective ownership can't compete with high populations because of distribution. Elaborate on that. Then again, who would enforce this collective ownership? Well, the way that I would view it is the same way that we would enforce, to the best of our ability, like the same way that like I just view it as like a smaller scale version of what we've done at like a higher government level, essentially, right? People say that socialism and communism only works at a small scale, which is very interesting. Because what you see, weirdly enough, is that democracy itself clearly works, at least to an extent, at a big scale and smaller scale, right? Whether it be, the like an entire country that's democratic, an individual state, a local election, right? It seems to be the case that it's not unstable, right? It seems like it can apply to any size of government or whatever it may be, right? But I don't see why that wouldn't be able to apply to corporations, which in their own right function as power structures. Like, they have sway, right? America ain't even capitalist at this point. It's like mega corporation shit. Well, that is what capitalism leads to, right? But would not the enforcers then be in a position to take advantage of your system? In what way? Like, I don't deny the fact that in my system there would still be some level of corruption. But I don't see how, let's say that there's like a law that says corporations must be run by worker cooperatives or some shit. How is that specific law going to be exploited by people in the government? Because I don't see that being an issue. But if there's something I'm not thinking of, then, at what point does monopolizing turn into a communist ideal? Fundamentally never. And who controls the cooperative? The workers? Obviously. Like, I'm confused. That'd be like saying, well, I know that you like think democracy is cool and shit, but like, who's gonna control the population? Oh, I guess the government. Okay, so democracy is bad because the government will use its power to what? Like maximize people's rights? Well, what if it abuses the power? Well, yeah, of course it's going to do that to an extent, no matter the system. Workers controlling something, lol, we get too many bills. Well, I mean, the main thing that you'd be controlling is, like you'd be controlling, like you'd have more sway over the workplace, who's in charge of you, etc. Right? It's basically you get to you have some amount of say in who the fuck is in charge of you, right? That incentivizes the people at the top to work in the best interest of the people at the bottom, right? Because the people at the top rely on the people at the bottom and their approval in order to stay at the top. This is fundamentally different from what we have now. Right now, the people at the top disregard the people at the bottom because it doesn't fucking matter to them. It doesn't make a difference, right? I feel like we're slowly having our rights stripped away from us. That's true. Logistics fall apart in collective ownership. Soviet Union has tried collective. No, Soviet Union had state ownership. Those are not the same thing. Worker cooperatives and state ownership are fundamentally different. Hot take, I think the optimal productive model would actually vary from industry to industry. The demands of service and production and labor are quite different, so specifics may differ. That's actually a good point. I didn't think of that. A kind of syndical system where industry experts, labor unions, and logisticians collaborate and act as branches of the regulatory body of an industry would probably work for many industries. I agree with that. I'm not too familiar with syndicalism. Hold on. Hold on. Let me search it. Oh, okay. So that's just the movement for transferring the ownership and control of means of production and distribution for workers' unions. Oh, okay. So that's just like basically market socialism. Okay. Wait, what would the difference be then? Okay. Let's see. But yeah, I guess I'd be like a syndicalist. I don't know. I don't really give a fuck about labels. If you haven't noticed. Does communism have different income brackets? I've always thought it was portrayed improperly. I'm not sure. I don't know. Different income brackets? I don't know what you would mean by that. I would assume that the answer would be no. Like different, hold on, different from like people in a communist system have different income brackets, or the income brackets are okay. So here's what I'm seeing. Okay, the theory of communism aims for like an equal distribution, but most communist states have income brackets and okay, all right. All right, fair. They do have different income brackets. Depends on what you mean by communism, but sure. But yeah. Let's see. You are one of 3 people working at a gas station. You want a third of it? Depends. Is this like a big gas station company that has gas stations all over the country? Because at that point, it wouldn't be 3 people for the one corporation, right? I think what you're trying to get into is like, what if it's like a small business, right? I'd be willing to make an exception for small business, right? Like, I'd be fine if, like, I don't know, the fucking mom and pop shop down the street or whatever, um, wasn't owned by cooperatives, right? In fact, that's actually something that I've posed as like a potential as like a potential solution would be uh, ideally big corporations would be controlled by the workers, right? And then for small companies that are owned by like a sole proprietor or partnership and that they're small, they don't have that many employees, right? Maybe they don't have to be um maybe they're not collectively owned. Maybe they're subsidized, right? Because they're small businesses, right? Make it easier for them to like have a chance to compete in the market, right? But that's not going to happen in like a quote unquote free market, right? A free market means oppressed people. The only people that will ever be free in a quote unquote free market are the people at the top. Capitalism endgame equals selling air. You know, we might get to that point. Who knows? How would you even measure ownership between workers, stocks, money? I guess you could measure it with stocks. Employee-run corporations is a horrible idea, but I'm listening. Okay. Explain that. I was at the bottom, but not anymore thanks to capitalism. Wait, do you think there's going to be no upward mobility in a market socialist economy? That's not the case. It would be easier, right? If it was like a, I guess in a mixed economy, if you want like the most upward mobility for the average person, maybe like a mixed economy leaning towards syndicalism, right? I would say something like that, where it's like smaller businesses are subsidized or have some sort of advantage over large corporations. Once they get bigger, they start to lose a lot of their advantages, right? Whatever that may be, right? Gives people a better chance at having their small business become decently successful, right? But that would fit better under my view than yours. That requires companies to expand at least, grow the company, which eventually will lead to a corporation. Well, that's what I'm saying is that, like, over time, the more power that the company obtains, the more restrictions there ought to be. Are you an economist? No. And if there was an economist that is like, oh, you're wrong about this, then, like, I'd be down to hear their arguments for why. If there's, like, an economist in chat that wants to talk to me, I'd like to get into a call with you and discuss this. I'd be down. Judgment bypass. My Discord is Femyoz, Femyoz. I'm not gonna talk about it today, but tomorrow if I'm on stream and I'm up for it, I'd be down. I don't know. It's kind of a busy week for me because I have college shit that I have to do. But yeah. Businesses can never run. Quote, businesses can never run without the shareholders who do no productive or logistical work and literally just own things for a living because they just couldn't, okay? Yeah, no. It's like people say that shit and it's like, yeah, but like why? Yeah, I'd be down. But then the value of ownership that those workers have will decrease, no? Like as the corporation grows, you mean? Or what? At least it will stop expansion to certain areas that need certain things. I don't know what you mean by that. The value of ownership. They have like, yeah, as workers increase, then like, yeah, like relatively they're like the proportion of what they own would decrease. But also that would be proportionally speaking, not cumulatively, because the corporation itself would also be worth more. So, yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't be able to fully describe that. I remember seeing you months ago. Glad to see you're still doing good. Hell yeah. Good to see you, Shaylin. Feel free to subscribe if you want to see more. Um, do you want to talk about some less depressing things? Yes. Chat. Who wants to talk about cock and ball torture? Let's see. I guess what restrictions will these companies have to block corporations to form? Well, we wouldn't block corporations to form. It would just even out the playing field. It would just be restrictions on corporations, right? And forcing corporations to be collectively owned, right? Not gonna lie, you're the first to say my name right. And of course, damn, no one knows how to pronounce Shaylin. No, what I should have done is I should have been like, no one knows how to pronounce Shailan. Just like pronounce it, like butcher it the second time. Anyways, yes, one in chat if you love CBT. I know I sure do. I'm gonna put a big one in chat. Oh yeah, let's go. What an incredible way to end off stream. Yo, been so long since I've seen you. Hello. We're gonna watch or react to a video. Nah, I don't have the energy for that. I'm like, I love the fan base and reaction. I just joined. What's the topic? The topic is I'm about to end stream. We were talking about market socialism and communism and capitalism. But yeah, I talk about a lot of random stuff. What's the invite for the Discord? Ibrahim Robinson, if you want to join, just add my Discord, Femyoz, Femyoz. It's the same as my YouTube. And then I'll add you back and invite you. Communism and CBT discussion stream. Yeah. Dude, we're talking about communism and cock and ball torture. Dude, we need to have collective ownership over the cock and ball torture devices. That is right, everybody. Are you Hispanic? No. Do I look Hispanic? Yeah. Communism and ball torture? That's true. All right. God loves you so much. I'm so glad to hear that. I actually had gay sex with God yesterday. She's like my favorite trans woman. Spreading the liberal agenda in style? Absolutely, of course. How could you not? What can I say? Yo, what's up? Hope you're doing well. Why, thank you. I very much appreciate that. Hope you're also doing well. Though I'm about to end stream. So make sure to subscribe for more content. Damn, wait, are you lesbian? Mostly, yeah. Make a few exceptions for a few guys, but yeah. Functionally speaking, I may as well be. CBT loves you, that's true. Cock and ball torture loves you. Alright? Like, it's the best in the world. How many cock torture sessions you reckon is equal to FTM pre-T period? I don't know. It's hard to say. I had gay sex with God yesterday. Is she trans, Miles? Yes. Femboy crushing on you. Yo, let's go. Good night, sleep well. Good night, everyone. I hope you all sleep well. Sent a friend request. All right, I'll accept it once I end stream. You prefer the vagine over the peen? Question mark. That's not even what I said, though. Though I will say, pegging. Actually, no, we're not gonna go there. We're at, that's actually not where we're gonna go. I'll have you find. That's the, yeah. That's just not where we're gonna go. And stuff. Yeah. Pegios. Pegios is crazy. No one brought up pegging? Well, to be fair, the person brought up genitalia, and I'm like, well, no matter what, it's like, and then I'm like, actually, no. How many puppy girls does it take to screw a light bulb? None. they're screwing each other instead. That's true. Sounding Yos, yes, I'm in my sounding arc, actually. We're sound maxing. Puppy Yos. Now, me personally, I would never be a puppy girl. I'm actually a cat girl instead. Honestly, second trans I've quote unquote met. Oh, fair enough. Hello. Nice to meet you. You're so beautiful. Thank you, Howard. Your voice is mad a nothing. Thank you, Haley. I agree. Have you heard the song Show Me Your Genitals? No, it sounds awesome. Anyways, diaper spankios. Okay. And on that note, we're I think what a great way to end stream. I have 10 cats, 5 are kittens. I had a cool coworker. He was trans, guy to girl. Wait, guy to girl. That'd be a she. Dude, no, we're not doing the diaper allegations. We're not. No. I no. Chat. Why are you like this? I thought we were able to go the entire stream without somebody saying that fucking shit. Anyways. I officially have a boyfriend. Yo, congratulations. You gonna stream tomorrow? Hopefully. I want to. Is it true that hips don't lie? Well, I mean, they can't really say words, so like, I guess. Sup, I remember you from MCPE PvP. Hell yeah. Dude, I was pretty fucking good in like 2022, maybe early 2023. Dude, it's 2025 now. I'll occasionally hop on. Like I started occasionally hopping on again, but I'm not as good as I used to be. I'm kind of dog shit now. Bro, like sometimes I lose to randoms. It's fucked up. It's like, damn, I should at least be 6-potting this person. If not 15-potting them. But, oh well, guess that happens when you lose your game sense from not playing anymore. Is that your natural hair color? Hell yeah, it is. Yeah, chicken jockey indeed. Are you a former gifted kid? I sense that energy. What do you mean, former gifted kid? Oh, I'm not gifted at anything, don't worry. I'm like talentless. I'm like bad at stuff. Alright, don't you worry. Dude, everyone's saying chicken jockey. Alright. Thanks, chat. Good shit, good shit. Glad to see we're having an intellectual conversation in the free marketplace of ideas. I can train you to have a new talent. Okay. Why is this where we're going? Gifted kid is another way of calling someone autistic. I'm aware. That's why I did the most autistic response. Subtlety, okay? Sometimes subtlety is good. Actually, no, that's not true. I'm barely ever subtle. That's probably why the joke didn't land. I'm not known for my subtle, discreet humor. I'm known for, like, insane shit. You know? I mean, what can I say? But anyways. Yeah, chicken jockey indeed. Chicken chalky? True. I heard something about React videos earlier in the stream. Any specific videos? Do you do music? I don't do music. I basically find stuff that I disagree with or have something to add to in some way and react to it sometimes. I don't like calling it a reaction because, like, when I heard the word reaction, I just think of, like, the type of shitters that'll just, like, sit there in the corner and let the video play. I don't do that. I pause, like, every 3 seconds to respond to everything said. So I'm, like, super in depth. Like, it'll take me, like, sometimes an hour to get through a 15-minute video. Right? And I'll get distracted and stuff too. So it's not really a reaction because you couldn't watch the video through me. You're watching me at the end of the day. and me responding to the video. If you want to see the video itself, you know, entirely on its own, then you just see the video itself. I don't know. I care about being transformative. That's why I don't like to call myself a reaction channel, right? I'd rather call myself a variety streamer. You know, that's more in line with what Tipster does. But in reality, if I were to call myself a reaction streamer, I would actually rather shoot myself than doing that, so I won't. Anyways. Do you consider yourself a woman and why? Yes. And when I'm talking about women, I'm simply referring to the feminine social archetype in society, right? So that's something that I would fit into. It's also the case that I have a preference for she, her pronouns. What's the difference between femboy and trans? Okay, so like a trans girl would be somebody that doesn't identify with the gender they were assigned at birth. They identify as a woman. A femboy is generally going to identify as a dude, right? But yeah. Anyways, are you on Gigi Jack's film side? Absolutely. Of course I am. I forgot about that shit. Is he like still shitting on Sniper Wolf? So you would say you're effeminate, not actually a woman? No, that's not what I said. Pay attention. Rewind the VOD if you need. The fact of the matter is it depends on what you mean by woman, alright? I'll be good faith. Alright? It depends on what you mean by woman. Right? When I refer to myself as a woman, I'm not referring to some sort of biological construct, if that's what you're asking. Like, womanhood isn't determined by biology, right? There's obviously going to be a sex-gender distinction, right? Like, there are, in fact, social categories or archetypes that are derived from sex, but not sex in of itself, right? And that's what I'm referring to when I refer to gender. Anyways. Someone always tried to be transphobic towards me, saying, I'll always be a girl and I can't change that, quote, when I'm male to female trans. Yeah. Is this a VOD or a live stream? It's actually a VOD. I just predicted exactly what you're going to say. Anyways. Only two genders, male and female. Okay, what gender are intersex people? That's what I want to know. People saying trans isn't biology, you need to do some research. It wouldn't just be biology. That would be like an illogical way of viewing it, right? Like that would negate the existence of like the actual like social archetypes, right? That are derived from sex, which is gender. Now, if you're talking about like the whole like brain sex thing, like yeah, there is also science behind that, right? There's like sort of an explanation behind why people are trans, right? I don't necessarily disagree with that either. Yeah, I would say that like gender is like a neurophysiological construct as well, right? It just depends on what lens you're looking at it through. Like in like a broader sense, I'd say it's a social construct, but in terms of like your internal perception, that's going to be like more neurophysiological, but that would go for a lot of things. It's both societal and biological. I wouldn't really phrase it that way, but sure. Like I would be careful and make a clear distinction between sex and gender. Like if we're talking about gender in a broad sense, it's going to be societal, right? If we're specifically talking about gender identity, that's referring to an internal perception, right? And that's going to also be neurophysiological, right? That's going to be in part what informs your self-perception. So, like, obviously you can't negate either variable, but I don't know. I'm being a bit pedantic, but anyways. Dude. I mean, also, wait, why was this guy? Dude, this is the guy that was saying there's only two genders. Cute cat, but like very ugly man. That cat deserves better. That's an adorable cat. A very ugly dude. It's like Hunter Avalon, but with Down syndrome. Yeah. Yeah, free the cat. Free the cat. Now, in all fairness, it's probably not a very good photo. But still, like, fucking back up from the camera, dude. Jeez. Alright, anyways. The cat died. You know, that sounds about right. Yeah, poor kitty. Poor kitty cat. Gender isn't just a social construct. It's complex. The lack of space of words, I can only be broad when typing, but yeah, preach. Fair. Okay, so we agree then. I'm just like being like hyper autistic and pedantic. Anyways. Why is gender identity important? Why not just identify as a human? So you'd be in favor of gender abolition. Like everyone use they, them pronouns type of thing. I wouldn't be opposed to that. We don't live in that society though. Anyways. On that note, I think I'm going to end off stream. Or will I? Let's see. I thought they was plural. Well, then you don't know anything about grammar. The singular let they has been used for fucking ages. Hey, thank you for 100 likes, everybody. Continue to double tap to boost me in the algorithm. I'm about to end stream, but yeah. Yeah, or will you? Well, good either way. Fuck yeah. See y'all, YouTube routing me back here. Crazy coincidence. Yeah, it's a sign from YouTube that you should like subscribe and stuff. I don't know, I'm still a bit confused with the gender thing because I feel like there's gender dysphoria within the gender social constructs, making people uncomfortable with their own gender. But each gender can express themselves similarly. Yeah. Yeah, there's gonna be like well, dysphoria is gonna be on the basis of like a primary and secondary sex characteristics that are incongruent with how somebody would like to be perceived in that way, and what sex characteristics they would desire, right? Whether they be more masculine or feminine, right? Or there's also going to be like more social dysphoria, right? That actually gets into the like if you lived on an island by yourself and there was no people, but you had all your needs met, and like you could also do HRT or transition or whatever the fuck, and had all the tools necessary to do so, would you? Right? But my answer would be yes. And then you change it, and like it's like, okay, what if you were born there? And the honest answer is, I don't fucking know. Maybe, probably. I don't know what I would be like. How much of dysphoria is porn induced? That's not how dysphoria works. Maybe you're thinking of dysmorphia. Dysphoria refers to a true perception of one's own body. Dysmorphia refers to a false perception. Keep in mind. Say sex is binary. Oh, gender is binary. Is saying sex equals male or female? No, not necessarily. Somebody could take like a really like dumb autistic position of like, that saying that gender is binary, but that sex is bimodal. But you're right. You're pointing to it like an internal critique that I do, which is if sex and gender are the same, and there's only two genders, then what gender are intersex people, right? Can someone completely feel trans but not have the whole body dysphoria? Yeah, people can be trans without having dysphoria. Did you watch a lot of porn before transitioning? Yeah, dude. The sissy hypno porn made me trans. Yeah, like I just don't exist, right? Yeah, like they'll always give like a shit answer, like well, they're like a genetic mutation, and then I'm like, so they're genetic mutation gender. That doesn't fit the binary. No, like they're like an exception. So their gender identity is exception gender. Well, how very exceptional. I thought you were against xenogenders and shit. Oh, okay. Less than 500 subs away from 50K. Let's go. They're abnormalities. It doesn't count. Oh, so they're abnormality gender. Interesting. Or would you agree that the quote unquote abnormality causes them to not fit the binary, in which case the binary is not all encompassing. And if it's not all encompassing because of intersex people, why would it be fundamentally different for trans people? Why are intersex people the exception but not also trans people? Yeah, it's like, so there is something other than the gender equals sex and also it's a binary. Yeah, and it's crazy. It's almost like it contradicts itself or some shit. Why is the sissy hypno shit always a place of argument for people against trans people? I just think it's funny. People are like, oh yeah, dude, it was porn that made you trans. Like, you're so right, dude. The sissy hypno porn force feminized me. I was just like, it was that and also me being vaccinated. That's why I'm transgender. I'm not huge in the culture, but I can tell you're smart with what you talk about. So the fact that people are hung up over surface level looks and definition is wild to me. Yeah, people be kind of dumb. I don't think I'm particularly smart though. This chick is really hot. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Global warming makes you gay. This is true, by the way. Trend made me gay. Yeah, sounds about right. I'm stupid as hell. Dude, me too, Sniffer Ripple.